I'm Cynthia Schiller, a soul survivor, and you can be too. We're going to talk about the 5 stages of grief today. We're not really going to focus on the narcissism. We're going to focus on the grief that we've gone through. We've lost a relationship. Some of you have lost loved ones due to a breakup or death, and due to the recent death of Angie Atkinson, a very influential YouTuber who focuses on narcissism, has passed away. And my channel is pretty much on narcissism. So we're going through grief, whether it's from the loss of Angie or it's the loss of our relationship. How do we get through it? So the first stage is denial. It's something we're going to go through. And I saw it evident in one of my comments from a viewer where they said, I saw some posts about that a couple days ago, YouTube videos, and they didn't want to watch them. They're like, no, I don't want to know about this. I just don't want to know about it. And it felt good to hear them say that when I posted it, they felt comfortable with the way that I would present it. It was like safe. Sometimes we need to feel safe to accept certain things, the information that we're getting. So she got the information from me and is still going through the grieving process. That's the first stage. The first stage is she knew what was up. She saw the wording about it from other people. She's like, no, I'm not going to let that be put concrete. So after watching it, you know, she had her emotions. After denial, where we're like, this isn't happening, or if it's a relationship where they're coming back, or if we have a sick person who's important to us that we feel they're just going to get better. The doctor tells you it's terminal. You're like, no, it's not going to happen. Where it's evident or something that they are definitely passing away. It's common. It's part of the stages of grief to go into denial, to not want to hear, to not want to move forward, to get stuck in that rut. It takes a little bit of time. It's almost like shock. Like for me, it took me a little bit of time. Like, what? Like my mind was processing it. And then when you're really attached to somebody, you go through like an anger. Like, how could this be happening? And it's normal to feel anger. So as you're going through whatever situation you're going through that deals with grief, it's okay to get angry. You need to. You need to scream into a pillow, to over exercise, to get that adrenaline out. The anger helps you move forward. And after you get to grips, a lot of times we start bargaining. And if it was in a relationship, it's like, you know, if I just lose weight or gain weight, if I do my hair different, if I get a better job, if I clean my house better, if only I could get pregnant, then it would work out. And I'll do those things and please just let it happen. And trying to give some hope in return of bringing somebody back. So whether it's in a lost relationship or a lost person who's moved on in life, on to the afterlife, or whatever you believe in, you start to get depressed. Like nothing worked. You know, it's over. And it starts to bring you down. And that's your mind settling down, that anger, and then you don't want to do as much. You're not as motivated. You're sleeping more or eating more. We're trying to cope with things. Sometimes we shut people out. Sometimes we go to our best friend or whoever and just cry our eyes out. Depression is good for a little while. That's part of the stages of grief. If you don't go through the depression, it's almost like you're in denial in a sense, because you had feelings for this person. And if you don't allow that sadness, I watched the movie Mask with Cher, where the son had like a distorted face, birth defect, and or that's another one. I want to talk about La Bamba. Richie Valens, a singer who died in a plane crash. And so they show their little life, love story, and, you know, the different Buddy Holly, different musicians. And so I believe it was Buddy Holly that gave up his seat on the plane because Richie Valens wasn't feeling good, because he was supposed to ride the bus. But the guy gave up his seat so Richie could go because he wasn't feeling good and he could get to the next site earlier, and they died in a plane crash. And I was like, wow, that was kind of a sad movie. Too bad it's not real. Or I'm glad it's not real. I think I said I'm glad it's not real. I was like 12 years old or something. And at the end of the movie, it says, Richie Valens born, whatever, lived a life, da da da, and may he rest in peace, whatever the wording were. And I was like, that was real. And a part of me connected with that movie because I enjoyed it. It seemed real, but I was like, there's no way this is real. It's just a story because I was so young. And when I found out it was real, I started crying. It's almost like I felt guilty for not feeling the emotions that I should tie to a true person. And I had to go through that. And I'm 52. That's like 40 years. And that pops in my head. Like, that was kind of traumatic for me. Like, I didn't want to believe it was true. I was angry more at myself for not grieving a human life, because that's just how I am. And then bargaining with myself to calm myself down, like, you didn't know him, or whatever the things I was doing. You know, like, if you connect the you didn't know him, it's kind of bargaining. You don't have to feel sorry for him. And then it kind of brings you back to the anger, like, yeah, that's not me though. I need to. And you go through different things, and you might go back into the first stage, like, wait, was it really a true story? Because I don't want to believe this. And so you start Googling things or whatever it is. You can flip-flop between the stages. So after bargaining, you have your depression, and then you have your acceptance. And that's when things make a difference. Once you go through that depression, it is up to you to go back into denial or anger or bargaining, getting stuck in the depression. A lot of times with that rumination that we go through with the narcissistic abuse, other types of abuses that we've been through, or traumatic events, it can be a traumatic event that we're grieving, a loss of a house from a house fire, or could be anything, loss of a job, loss of a marriage, loss of a child, loss of whatever it is. So try not to get stuck in any of these stages too long. It's okay to go through them, because if you don't, it won't come to full acceptance. It'll get you stuck. It'll get you stuck. And be aware of where you're at. So if you're angry right now, like, why did this have to happen? A lot of people are searching for answers. Did she get the vaccination? Did Angie Atkinson get the vaccination? What's going on? It seemed unexpected. Still trying to do that denial. Like, are you sure this is really happening? Or how did it happen? So I can be angry at something, angry at the vaccination. We don't really want to believe. I know she had respiratory issues, so I don't know further into her medical thing, but we're trying to displace our anger. And, the bargaining can be in different ways, where, if it's like, if I lose weight, can I get my husband back? Like, that's kind of a more concise, visualized concept of the bargaining. But the bargaining, it can be even more subtle than that. If I bring flowers, will that bring me peace in my heart? Little things like that. And then we just are like, "Ugh," it's almost like I give up. These emotions are bringing me down and they're exhausting. It's exhausting to be angry. Denial, things, it changes our brain when we're going through these stressors in our life. They've done statistics on a lot of divorces happen around high stress times, such as even a marriage. It's just a high stress, or divorce can happen with the divorces. I worded that wrong. I think you get my gist. Um, moving. So things that cause stress can agitate us. Things that cause grief, loss can agitate us. And then we get into the acceptance. And that is when it is so beautiful. If you go through the depression stage, and you will start to feel a change from depression into more of a calm and a peacefulness, that's you starting to accept things. Where if it's Angie Atkinson, you could be sad that she's gone. And then it can kind of transform into a peace in our heart that she loved us to bring forth her information, to respond to her viewers, to intuitively think about what we might need as far as advice. And we can be thankful for that. We can look at it in a different light, that we're thankful for the time that we had for her, that she's a part of us now, that we can change our path in life. Because whether it's from something I said or something Angie Atkinson said, that it's going to be okay. We have the knowledge we need. We have to accept we can't bring somebody back. And if it's about a relationship, don't chase people. So since there's all these different types of relationships, healthy, unhealthy, needs counseling could possibly work. Transition time in somebody's life where they're not necessarily healthy now, but they can be. Narcissists have a harder time of changing because the connections in their brain just don't work. Same with like sociopaths, psychopaths, schizophrenics have the delusions and just an altered memory, which can be very difficult. That's another thing that people sometimes grieve. If they have a schizophrenic child, they grieve the child that should have been in their eyes, or they grieve the loss of their normal life, normal family. There's a lot of things we grieve over, and we get angry. And, we can't change the past, and we're in today, and we got to do everything possible to not get stuck in a rut. Every day we should grow. Every day we should live life to the fullest, because Angie was young, and we don't know when it's our time. And they always say, never miss a moment to tell somebody you love them, and go through the stages of grief. Don't try to skip past them. Don't get stuck in them, and be aware that you're going to be in an anger stage. So it's okay to go through that. Don't punch a person, punch a pillow if you need to get some adrenaline out, or a punching bag, hang one in the garage, or go to the gym, lift some weights, run, or just scream. I had to scream. I screamed and cried. And it's okay. Make sure your kids aren't around, keep them healthy about it. Get a sitter and have some alone time if you need it, and cry and scream. But be aware of it so you don't damage your kids or your family members, because you don't want them grieving the loss of the healthy relationship with you. And that's where these cycles happen. So be aware of that. And it really is so enlightening The queen bee was right. It really is. That's what Angie went by. The transition from the depression to acceptance, you'll feel it. You will feel it. And then that's when life begins again. Like a free life, we'll put it that way. You're still living your life. You're still dealing with your things, but a free and happy life. So for those of you who are missing the beautiful Angie Atkinson, and for people who have lost loved ones or things that are important to them or people that are important to them, just know it's okay. What you're going through is normal. Don't beat yourself up about it. Go through it. And the quicker you help yourself go through it, the better you are. Where you can mentally say, no, don't slip back into anger. We've already done that. We've already been angry. We're moving forward to the next stage. And allow yourself each stage. Take that mental strength and don't go back. Keep moving forward. And the depression's a hard one. You've made it so far. And it takes mental energy to redirect your thinking or the habits that you're starting to develop. You don't want to start to develop a messy house or unclean body or lifestyle. You have to keep yourself, objects in motion, stay in motion. And that includes you. So thank you for watching. If this helped you, please comment below. Share some of your stories. I make special topic requests, videos to help you in your personalized life moving forward. All right, soul survivors, I'll see you soon. Have a good night.